When we first moved into this house, we were surrounded by paddocks. There were a couple of building sites nearby, and the skeletal system of the new road network was just starting to emerge. There was a massive dust bowl across the road, full of excavators and bulldozers carving up the land for the new estate. Looking out from the front porch in the mornings to watch the sunrise, over to the east I could see the local farmer's dam. Beyond the dam I could see the sand dunes, and if I stood on my tippy toes I could even catch a glimpse of the ocean. Out to the west there were sheep grazing in a paddock, beyond the beautiful blooms of the tulips of the local flower farm. But since then a lot has changed. The view of the dunes and the dam has been blotted out by a sea of colorbond and tiled roofs. My ocean glimpses, as a real estate agent might like to call them, have long disappeared. The sheep in the paddock have been replaced by children playing on the new primary school oval, and the blooms of the flower farm have completely been reshaped to include a wetlands which serves as a water reservoir to drain the neighbouring streets of a now well-established housing estate. When we first moved here, deliveries to our home were difficult. The address hadn't yet landed on Google Maps, and I'm sure the old Melway would have still showed the potato farm that had occupied the land for decades before the new development. This end of town was the undesirable end of town. New Torquay, too far away from the central hub with Ryan's IGA, Woolies, and the local shops and cafes on Gilbert Street. This end of town was home to the local refuse station, and unless you were keen for a dip at the nudist beach down the road, there was little reason to venture this far east of the main beach and the yacht club down at Fisho's. But that's all changed now. The old refuse station, otherwise known as the Tip, is less utilised. Instead, there's a manicured golf course down that end of the esplanade with a clubhouse, restaurant, bar and 4-star accommodation. The nudist beach has become a stretch of sand favoured more frequently by local dog walkers and families rather than those desiring liberation from their bathing suits. And the dust bowl created by the estate developers has become a pleasant, lush green, with established trees now slowly but surely adding interest and shade to the local parklands. The landscape is always changing. To look back at an old map of Torquay from the 70s, it'd be fun. It's quite nostalgic. So are the old photos too. But they're not going to help the Uber Eats delivery guy to drop off my Vietnamese takeaway from Folklore on a Saturday night. See, maps need continual updating and revision if they're to continue to provide us with a sense of where we want to go. And even the most up-to-date map provided through GPS still won't be able to foresee all of the possible obstacles and changes that are inevitable in an evolving and dynamic landscape. Maps are great as a record of where we've been. They're part of the history of our communities. Looking at old maps helps us to observe the patterns and movements that occurred as our communities evolved. We can see the order and the structure, the design that was implemented to facilitate the growth and development of that community and the people that it served. I didn't grow up here in Torquay, but I've witnessed a lot of change here in the last decade. As the changes have occurred, I've grown familiar with the new network of streets, the new shops and businesses that have sprouted up, offering a whole range of new resources to support the lives of the people who live in this town. And while I sometimes lament the changes, particularly the density of surfers in the lineup, and I can still vividly see the thick painted murals that used to adorn the Gilbert Street fish and chip shop if I close my eyes, I'm happy to embrace the changes. Because no matter how attached I was to the old map of the town, it's not going back to the way it was. So I've got a choice. I can be present and enjoy all the new resources that the town has to offer, or I can retreat into my imagination. Try to reconnect with a world that's long gone by. I know which one I'd rather.